Hey, it seems to be working. I know. Hi. That's very exciting for us, right? Oh my gosh, you guys. Hopefully everyone gets the memo. I hope you don't miss anybody because they didn't see my message. But we're trying, right? We're trying it. How was everybody's Sunday? Was it good? It wouldn't let me change the info, so it still says we're reading A Tale of Magic, which is what we were reading the first time I tried to use this account, and it wouldn't let me. But it wouldn't let me edit that, which was a bummer, but I was like, whatever, better to do it than not do it. I don't know. Hopefully, all of our folks will see that we're over here. You know how my Sunday was true. I do. That sounded stressful and awful. Maybe we will get our friends over here. Who's to say? If you know anyone who's usually in book club who you are connected with on something and want to share it with them, so hopefully they are here, go do that. Because they may not know that we are over here. I don't know. I did announce it. Oh, Cindy made it. Yay. Let's see who else finds us over here. My Sunday was good. How was your Sunday? Good, productive. I cleaned the house. I completely cleaned out and reorganized my closet and all my drawers. Took out a lot of clothes that I'm going to send to ThreadUp, and then I packed orders and stuff. Today I need to make base slime and pack more orders. Yada yada yada. The whole kit and caboodle. The whole kit and caboodle. Oh, Roxy made it. All right. Hey, we're working on sending close to ThreadUp too. Oh yeah, yeah, we're doing that. I know, right, Roxy? We made it onto the book account, and yeah, we're sending some over there so that we can exchange it for new stuff. Fun. Amanda made it! Yay! I was hoping everyone would get the memo and we'd all be over here. Very fun. We're making it happen. Oh my god. Yay, Naisa made it. Hi, Naisa. Look at us. We did it. They finally let me in. They believe that I am over 18. Do they know how? Hey, Julia made it. There we go. Look at that. We're all making it happen. We're all here. It'd be funny if they knew how far over 18 I really was. Okay, why flex spending is so early? Because they locked my account because they want a receipt. That is ridiculous. In case anyone is new and wasn't on here when I first got on, I just want to let you all know, I know it says we are reading Tale of Magic, but that's because it wouldn't let me edit it. I know, everyone's pooping in. It wouldn't let me edit it. I'm not super sure why. But at least it's the right series, even if it's not the right book, right? And then hopefully they'll let me edit it for tomorrow's. I don't know. Because you're underage, you can't be trusted to change the description. That's funny. As long as we're on the somebody, the typo is a moot point. It's a moot point. It's a cow's opinion. It's a cow's opinion. Yes, yes, it's true. We're all here, sort of. 8 of us are here. 9 if you include me. Yes, finally. We are book reading on the book account. It's all logical. We make it work. Sundays feel 3 days long. It did. I had so much to do yesterday. It did feel 3 days long. You are right. I cleaned out everything. Grocery shopping, 2 loads of laundry, load of dishes, the whole thing. It was a wild day. There we go. You started a new book. What did you start? What book is it? What wouldn't we include you without you? There isn't a book. Yeah, that's true. That's true. We were putting furniture things together this weekend, so it felt like it took forever. Truly. Yes, it took forever, but also was over too fast. I agree. I started Healer to the Ash King. Whoa. Look at that. All right. It's a little chilly. I'm not gonna lie. I'm wearing these like long underwear, and I'm still a little cold. Even so, I'm gonna drink a little more coffee before we get started because it's a little chills. Today, oh my gosh, I love Book Lovers. It's so good, Anya. Devers and Kelly again this week. It's rude. That is rude. I'm jealous of your cold. Ooh. Waiting for my teeth to get fixed in the chair now. Oh my gosh, that's crazy, Roxy. Also, wait, I was going to tell you guys something else. Oh, I'm going to record more chapters of my book today. So anyone who's been watching those, I can see that you guys are starting to watch them because I can see the views starting to go up on that. There will be more chapters today. It's 80 degrees in your office building? No, that's unacceptable. It's okay for it to be 80 degrees outside. 80 degrees outside is acceptable. 80 degrees inside, not great. You need an ice bath in your office. It is definitely not 80 degrees here. I don't know what the temperature is here, but if I had to guess, I'd say like 62 outside probably. And Jack made it over here. Yay, she found us. Mary made it over here. Question, do you make money off people that read your book via Kindle Unlimited? Yes, actually I do, Mary. Thank you so much for asking. It's one of the greatest things. I am also a Kindle Unlimited reader. I read a lot of books on Kindle Unlimited, and I'm happy that authors get paid for it. It's so great because it's like, it's free to the well, not free, you pay for your membership, of course, but the readers don't pay per book. They can read as many books as they can fit into a month for, I can't remember what the price is. I think I might just have finished my trial. I think it's like whatever it is. But yeah, we get paid per page, which is great. So yeah, it's really nice. It's a great system for writers to get their work out there, in my opinion. I don't know, I guess not everybody feels that way, but I do. I like it a lot. What's worse is 80 degrees inside right now and outside. Okay, good. I just want to make sure before I started reading you were getting compensated. Oh, yes. Thank you so much, Mary. That's so kind of you to care about that. Not everybody does. Sloth made it. Hey, Sloth. But yeah, I think that's one of the greatest features of Kindle Unlimited. I can see how many pages. Oh my gosh, you guys. It's not even halfway. I guess we are technically now halfway into the month. Okay, so we're halfway into the month per page, not for the free one, right? Per page for Kindle Unlimited is per page for Kindle Unlimited. Yeah, it saved mine too, Jack. I love Kindle Unlimited, and I am almost at 5,000 pages read for the month of July. So this feels like this might be the first month where I might actually break 10,000 pages in a month. Like, cross your fingers. So if you have any friends who have Kindle Unlimited, please suggest my book to them, because again, it costs them nothing extra. You told me when it was pretending to read it. No, but that's a different version, Becca. You downloaded yours on Kindle, not Kindle Unlimited. That's different. You don't have Kindle Unlimited, Becca. So yours is Kindle. I don't get paid per page on Kindle. I get paid per page on Kindle Unlimited. They're two separate things. Before we read, I think we all need a collective deep breath for the last 3 chapters. Yeah, they were intense. They were extremely emotional. But yeah, thank you, Mary, for reading. Thank you to everyone who is reading my book. I'm so grateful. And if I even come, hey, Ray made it. Okay, people really are making it over here. Everyone's seeing that we are over here. Yay! This is exciting. We're over here. This is our first one. It's our first book club on the book page. It's very exciting. Never done this before, but it is fun. Nikki made it. Okay. People are getting the memo. People are getting the memo. People on my list better realize it. Yes. So yeah, that is the whole kit and caboodle. TikTok only took forever to believe that you were real and old enough. I had to go jump through so many hoops to get live approval on this account, you guys. And my boss is on vacation, so I can focus on book club. Yes, we love it. I wish my boss would go on vacation. Can you tell her to get out of here so that I could read all day? Yeah. So, secret husband's brother and sister-in-law, so I guess my in-laws, their baby is due today. So we all like guessed different days. I guessed that the baby was going to be born on the 13th. I was obviously wrong. Ellie just tried to put a Sasha sticker in my hair. I mean, there are worse things. Hi, Ellie. So I'm wondering if we're going to get a new niece today because she's due today. So, you know, and I know she doesn't want to be pregnant anymore. She's done. We are on baby watch again. She has been pregnant so much in... Hey, Jake. Yeah, I think about 450 people have mentioned that at this point. I'm not from Michigan. I didn't know it. I will correct it. This is book club, so if you're not interested in reading, you can just kind of scooch on. If you're only here to talk about me missing the upper part of Michigan, I will take care of that later. Don't worry. Sasha, I was about to tell you to take a break. Your employer. It's funny. 450 random number. Yeah. People from states that you are not from, that are in the Midwest, I have learned, do not take kindly to people not knowing things about their state. It's weird, actually, I found, because I'm from California, but I'm also super familiar with New York. And if I run across someone on TikTok who doesn't know something about my state, I do one of two things. I either go, oh my gosh, XYZ is so cool, to like gently inform them, or I scroll on. Those are my two like mode of operations for that kind of situation. The people in the Midwest do not take kindly to you not knowing things about their states, which is odd because a lot of us have never been there, right? Yeah, literally, Becca. It's so weird. The people of Michigan have been kinder than the people of Missouri. The people of Missouri decided that the right way to approach someone not knowing about their state was to make fun of them. And I was like, I think you think I'm going to be bothered by this, but you're not bothering me because I know that you don't know anything about my state either. I mean, like, it's like not a big deal. They were like, didn't you learn about this in school? I'm like, no. Why would California public schools have taught me the history of Missouri? Like, what? Like, that doesn't even make any sense. There's no logic to it. I know, right, Anya? It's like these people have lost it. They're really upset. And I was like, I'm so glad you're proud of your state, but you know, it's so weird. Like, be proud. I'm on board with you being proud, right? But like, I was like, I know, like, if I posted a picture right here, like if I were to pull up a picture right here of like a California mission, even a very famous one, and said, what do you guys think this is? People would be like, a building, and they wouldn't know the rich history that our trail of missions have along California. But it's something we learned in 4th grade in school. We learn a lot about it. But I don't expect the rest of the country to be learning about it because it's California's history. Do I think that someone in Missouri knows the history of all of our missions? Probably not. They probably don't, and that's okay. If they'd like to learn about it, I welcome them too. And maybe some of them do, but I don't think the whole state does. It's wild. They lost their minds. I was like, I'll go back. I'll fix the rest of Michigan. Calm down. My favorite was Grace. My grandpa was from Missouri and I didn't even know that until after he passed. Right? Exactly, Jack. Thank you. I get being protective and loving you. Yes, but there's a way to do it with kindness, right? Like if somebody was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know that there was like missions and stuff in California. I'd be like, oh my gosh, it's so cool. You can go and like tour them. They take school groups there. It's like a whole thing. That's how you say it without being mean, right? You don't go like, I can't believe you don't know. That's so dumb. Like, can you imagine someone not knowing? Yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine millions of people not knowing, maybe even trillions. Anyway. You know, it's very funny. Very, very funny. It's wild. But let's read. I think we've got most of our core book club who is able to come every day here. Like, I don't see Grace oh, that's what I was saying. Grace actually left the funniest comment. She was like, Grace is from Michigan. And she was like, I came to this post just to watch everyone lose their mind about you not scratching off the upper part. And she was like, P.S. no one cares about that part unless they live there. And I was like, so apparently everyone in my comments is people who live in that upper part, and now Grace has just pissed them all off because she's from the lower part of Michigan and she's saying no one cares about the upper part. I was like, Grace, I am not getting in the middle of this fight with you. Can you imagine not knowing Girl Scouts started in Savannah? I had no idea. Yeah, I didn't know that actually, Jack, until this moment. I did not know that until you just said that. But I bet there's a million people who don't know that, Jack, right? And you had no idea until you moved there. You're talking about Savannah, Georgia? I truly didn't know that. That's awesome, though. It's a beautiful place. I have been to Savannah, and it is lovely. They swear you be studying the map, and sorry, right? Exactly. Well, that was the other thing. So I don't know if you guys have noticed, but like some of the stars, the capital stars are not correct on the map. Like they're not placed correctly. And people were like in the comments getting angry at me. And I was like, you guys know I didn't make the map, right? I'm just scratching it off. I didn't draw the map. I'm not a cartographer. But anyway, let's read because that's what we're really here for. And so I don't know what's going on, but what I do know is that we have entered our frozen season. Look at the picture for this chapter. We're obviously about to hang with Elsa and Anna or something. Either that or it's like Bristol's evil twin. I really don't know. It's your side hustle cartographer. I don't need any side hustles. I have too many. I want less hustle. I want much less hustle in my life. All right, so chapter 19 is called The Blessing of a Curse. Deep within the Temple of Knowledge, Bristol and the delegates cautiously walked down the corridor that led to the next challenge. At the end of the corridor, a group found a square chamber that was the size of a ballroom. At the very end of the room, a flight of stone steps led to a pair of double doors that were bound shut by thick chains and a steel lock. A giant glass heart hovered in the air above their heads. The heart was hollow and contained a golden key that was so bright it illuminated the entire room. 5 trails of white smoke orbited the glass heart like the ghosts of shooting stars. Yeah, well, judging by that big hat, this must be an emotional challenge, Lucy said. I'm guessing those double doors are the way out of here, Ryder speculated. I wonder how we're supposed to get the key, Spanky said. This looks like a job for a dwarf, Gobzella said. Go get it, Spanky. Before the dwarf knew what was happening, the goblin had grabbed him by the waist and launched him into the air. Spanky tried to grab the glass heart, but his hands went right through it, as if the heart and the key were made of air. Gobzella caught the dwarf on his way back down. It's no use. The heart and the key aren't solid, Spanky said. How can we unlock a door without a real key? I bet they're just more symbolic than physical, Bristol said. Remember, this is an emotional challenge. It won't be like the other challenges. It's going to test our sentiments and our characters. It could probably torment us with fear and existential questions, or like try to attack our confidence and squash our belief systems. It reminds me of a director I worked with once, Lucy said with a laugh. So how does the challenge start? Ryder asked. The delegates stood directly below the heart for a few minutes and waited for something to happen, but nothing changed. They looked around the chamber for a sign or a plaque with instructions, but they didn't find anything that explained the challenge. Check out the floor, Spanky said. You think those mean something?
The dwarf pointed to the floor, and the delegates discovered 5 black tiles engraved with footprints. The tiles were evenly spaced in a big circle around the room like the numbers of a clock.
Well, that's interesting. There are 5 sets of footprints and 5 of us, Ryder noted.
The temple must know that there are 5 of us left, Bristol said. I bet the challenge will begin as soon as we each stand on a tile.
Yeah, well, here goes nothing, Lucy said.
Each of the delegates stood on a tile, placing their feet over the engraved footprints. Once they were all in position, the tiles sank a few inches into the floor, like the buttons of a machine. Clank! Suddenly, 4 metal cages dropped from the ceiling. The cages trapped Lucy, Ryder, Spanky, and Gobzella right where they stood. But strangely, a cage didn't fall over Bristol. The delegates looked towards the ceiling, expecting another cage to drop at any moment, but the 5th one never appeared. As they gazed upward, the 5 trails of white smoke were released from orbiting the glass heart. The trails zoomed through the chamber, bouncing off the walls and ceilings, eventually landing inside the delegates' cages. The white smoke grew in different shapes and silhouettes. It gained color and texture, and soon apparitions of people and creatures appeared. Ryder was astonished when a handsome man in a blue sailor uniform manifested before him.
Father?
He asked in disbelief.
Is that you?
Hello, son, the sailor said. Ryder went pale as a ghost. He had never seen his father before, but the man wasn't hard to recognize. The two shared so many similar features, the same nose, the same eyes, and jawline. It was like Ryder was looking at an older version of himself.
Wait, you know who I am? He asked. I've known about you since you were born, his father said. Your mother wrote to me and she told me she gave birth to a son. Then why haven't you tried to contact me? Why haven't you come to visit me? The sailor laughed. Oh, please. You think I want a disappointment like you in my life?
Disappointment? Ryder asked.
What kind of man devotes his life to a dying breed of monsters? The sailor asked, and scowled with disgust. You and your mother lead a pathetic and pointless existence. I'm ashamed to call you a son.
Ryder was shocked by his father's cruel words, and he didn't know what to say. Inside Lucy's cage, the second smoke trail materialized into a man and a woman. The man had a tall top hat and a gold earring in his left ear. The woman had several beaded necklaces and a scarf over her head. The couple also wore theatrical makeup as if they had just stepped off stage.
Mom? Dad? Lucy asked. What are you doing here?
Hello, Lucy, Mr. Gousset said.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, not long enough, if you ask me, Mrs. Gousset sneered. What's that supposed to mean? Lucy asked.
Haven't you heard? Mr. Gousset asked.
The Gousset troupe is the most popular band in the world. We've been performing sold-out crowds every night in the biggest venues on the globe. Well, that's wonderful, Lucy said. Maybe I could join you for a reunion show.
No, sweetie, Mrs. Gousset said with a patronizing laugh.
Why do you think we're so successful now? People are coming in droves to see us perform because you're not in the band anymore. We should have kicked you out years ago, honestly. Lucy shook her head in disbelief. You aren't serious, she said.
Let's face it, you were a horrible tambourine player, Mr. Gousset said. Your mother and I couldn't wait to get rid of you. We're lucky we found the perfect excuse.
Lucy's eyes welled with tears and her bottom lip quivered. No. That's not true, she said. You sent me to live with the fairies because you loved me. You wanted me to be with people who understood me. You wanted Madame Weatherberry to help me develop my magic. Mr. and Mrs. Gousset looked at each other and howled with laughter.
Yeah, sure, Lucy, Mrs. Gousset said. Keep telling yourself that.
In Gobzella's cage, the third smoke trail transformed into 4 rambunctious goblin boys. They had insidious grins and devilish twinkles in their eyes as they bounced around Gobzella and climbed the walls of her cage.
I don't believe it! It's the boys from school! Gobzella exclaimed. I haven't seen them since I was a goblin.
A goblin? The first boy laughed. Did you hear that, fellas? Gobzella thinks she was a goblin, the second boy said. Impossible, the third boy said. That would imply she was small.
Gobzella's never been small, the fourth boy laughed. Well, maybe small for a hippo.
The boys chuckled like a pack of banshees, and their laughter echoed through the chamber. Gobzella's face flushed, turning a dark shade of green, and her thin nostrils flared.
How dare you, she told them. You can't speak to me like that anymore. I'm grown now.
"Oh, no argument there," said the first boy. "Yeah, you've certainly grown," said the second boy. "Yeah, a full-grown whale," said the third boy. "Oh, come on, fellas. Don't be mean," said the fourth boy. "That's an insult to whales." Gobzella covered her ears to tune out the boy's mean comments.
"This can't be real," she said. "I left him in the past. They can't hurt me anymore."
Inside Spanky's cage, the fourth trail of white smoke sank into the floor. A few moments later, 9 short and hairy creatures crawled out from beneath the ground and surrounded the dwarf. Each of them had a long snout, sharp fingernails, and big front teeth. The creatures glared at the dwarf with their beady little eyes, and they spoke in squeaky yet sinister voices.
"Mole people!"
Spanky shouted.
"Hello, Spinky," said the first mole. "We need it last."
"I knew you were real," the dwarf declared.
"You may have fooled the world, but you won't fool me. You've been trying to expose us for decades," said the second mole. "How's that working for you? Any luck so far?"
the third mole asked. I've been gathering evidence," Spanky grumbled.
"You covered your tracks so far, but one day I'll have enough proof and everyone will know the truth." "Ah, Spinky, who are you kidding?"
asked the fourth mole.
"You'll never expose us because we don't exist," said the fifth mole. "Why do you keep lying to yourself?" asked the sixth mole. "Isn't it time you face the truth?" asked the seventh mole. "You invented us because you couldn't take responsibility for your mistakes," said the eighth mole. "We aren't your enemy, we're your excuse," said the ninth.
Spanky turned bright red and beads of sweat appeared on his forehead.
"Lies," said the dwarf. "You've been sabotaging the world for centuries and you've been framing me since I was a child." "Framing you?" the first mole snickered. "You mean like that first day of school at small miners at large when you dropped the bag of diamonds down the well?" "That was you," Spanky said. "You wanted to get me in trouble." "Yeah, what about the time that you hit that poor innocent bear cub with the mine cart?" asked the second mole. You pushed the cart in front of him," the dwarf exclaimed. "Or that time you failed the management test and Mr. Slate became the leader of the mines?" the seventh mole asked.
You switched our answers," Spanky shouted.
"That's the only reason I didn't get the job. It was you. It's always been you."
Suddenly, the tiles under the caged delegates' feet all turned into quicksand. Ryder, Lucy, Gobzella, and Spanky slowly started to sink into the floor. However, they were so fixated on the apparitions in their cages that none of them even noticed the sand. The more the apparitions taunted them, the faster the delegates sank, and Bristol's eyes darted back and forth, desperate to understand what was happening and why none of it was happening to her. "I don't get it," Bristol thought out loud. "Why isn't the challenge affecting me?" "That's no mystery." Bristol jumped when she heard a familiar voice behind her. She looked over her shoulder and realized the fifth apparition had appeared. For her. Lounging on the steps at the back of the chamber, Bristol saw herself, but this version of Bristol was the exact opposite of her. She had dark makeup around her sunken eyes. She wore a pantsuit that was pitch black, and her long hair was filled with dead flowers. "I know you," Bristol said. "You're the voice in my head. You're the curse." "Finally, we get to meet face to face," the curse said. "Thank goodness, too. I was getting so bored in your subconscious all by myself." Bristol studied the apparition, and it slowly dawned on her what was happening. "The emotional challenge is forcing people to face their inner demons," she said. The curse gave her a condescending round of applause. "Oh, very good," she said. "You are clever when you want to be." "Then why aren't we caged together?" Bristol asked. "Why am I not sinking in quicksand like the others?" "I thought that part would be obvious," the curse said, "because you've already faced your inner demons." Bristol was confused. I have?" she asked. "Last year in the fortress, you learned how to silence me," the curse explained. "And if that wasn't bad enough, in the mental challenge, you learned how to use me for good. I'll never be able to sabotage you again after that little stunt. Unfortunately, your friends are still vulnerable to those negative thoughts in their heads. Until now, they've never had to confront the dark whispers that keep them up at night. So the challenge has trapped them in the cage of insecurity. It's provoking them with their greatest fears, and they're sinking into the depths of their own despair. It's rather poetic, don't you think? Bristol checked on the delegates and saw that they were already up to their waist in quicksand. In a few short moments, they would disappear completely. What happens if they sink all the way? She asked. Oh, they'll die, the curse said. But luckily you'll get to move on without them. But if they learn how to silence their own disturbing thoughts like I did, then they can beat the challenge too? Bristol asked. Oh, yes. But as you recall, it was much easier said than done, the curse said. It took you months to defeat me. And from the looks of it, your friends only have a matter of minutes before they're gone forever. So if I were you, I would spend my time saying my goodbyes. Bristol shuddered as she remembered the night that she and her friends battled the Righteous Brotherhood. That was the toughest night of my life. Oh, I remember, the curse said. You crossed an impressive bridge, a bridge your friends aren't strong enough to cross. Yes, but I didn't have anyone to help me, Bristol said. I had to learn to silence you all on my own. It was difficult and it was painful, and I had to summon the strength I didn't know I had, but I know exactly how to help someone else go through it, and perhaps Maybe that's the blessing of the curse. I went to hell and back, but I learned where all the roads are. The new realization made Bristol smile from ear to ear, and judging by the curse's reaction, she figured she was on to something significant too. The curse let out a long, disappointed sigh and slowly shook her head. Oh, there you go again, turning a negative into a positive, she said. Misery loved company until you came along. Goodbye, Bristol. And the curse faded into a cloud of white smoke and evaporated from the chamber. Fueled by this new discovery, Bristol ran to the top of the steps and stood where all the delegates could see her. She removed her dragon bone sword and banged it against the chained double doors as hard as she could. The noise temporarily distracted the delegates from the apparitions, and they all turned toward her. Everyone, listen to me, she pleaded. I know exactly how you're feeling. I used to be paralyzed by fear. I used to be plagued with doubt. I used to let my insecurities overrule my voice of reason. I thought that my thoughts were telling me the truth. I thought that I deserved to feel the pain and despair that they caused me, and I thought I was broken in a way that I couldn't be fixed. But none of that was real. The challenge is using your fears and insecurity to stop you from moving forward. Whatever the apparitions are saying to make you feel rejected, untalented, ugly, or ashamed, it's a lie. But only you can prove them wrong. As if a veil had been lifted from their eyes, the delegates finally looked down and realized that they were sinking into quicksand. They grunted and screamed as they tried to pull themselves out of the challenge's trap, physically and emotionally.
Ignore her, the sailor told Ryder. Listening to women is what made you so soft. If you had been raised by a father, then you wouldn't be such an embarrassment. You'd be a real man and a son I could be proud of.
Ryder went quiet. His father's choice of words had made him realize something for the very first time.
But I did have a father, he said. My mother was my father. She had to be both parents because you abandoned me. She taught me to be smart, compassionate, strong, brave, loyal, and proud without any help from you. And if that's not what a real man is, then I have no interest in becoming one. No, the sailor barked. You'll never feel complete without a father. You need me.
You're wrong, Ryder said. I won't make the same mistakes as the elf prince. I never needed you or your approval, and I certainly don't need you now. All of a sudden, Ryder stopped sinking into the quicksand. His metal cage turned into dust, and the sailor vanished into a smoky haze. Bristol sprinted to Ryder's side and helped him out of the sand. You did it, Ryder, she cheered. You beat the challenge.
Thank you for the guidance, he said. I really couldn't have done that without you.
Across the room, Lucy was up to her chest in quicksand, and the apparition of her parents loomed over her sinking body, blocking her friends from view.
You won't get out of this as easily as him, Mr. Goosey told her.
Deep down, you know we're telling you the truth, Mrs. Goosey said. Deep down, you know you were a lousy musician and we're better off without you.
Lucy rolled her eyes and let out a loud groan. So what? She snapped.
There are worse things in life than being kicked out of a family band. And who cares if I never perform again? I don't need applause or affection from strangers to be fulfilled. I have friends, and they make me feel more loved than a sold-out crowd ever could. Living with fairies was the best thing that ever happened to me, and I wouldn't trade it for all the praise and fame in the world.
Just like Ryder, after confronting the apparitions, Lucy stopped sinking into the quicksand. Her cage disintegrated into a pile of dust, and her parents faded from sight. Bristol and Ryder each grabbed Lucy by an arm and lifted out of the sand. "Way to go, Lucy," Bristol said. "I'm so proud of you." "Yeah, thanks for coaching me through it," she said. "For the record, I think you're a great musician." Bristol said, "Nah, the apparitions were right. The Gousset troupe is better off without me," Lucy confessed. "But in my defense, what band isn't better off without a tambourine player?" Thank you, Nisa. In the next cage, the goblin boys became more rambunctious and restless than before. They leapt from wall to wall, whacking Gobzella upside the head and taunting her with mean jokes. "Morning!" Gobzella tried with all her might to pull herself out of the quicksand, but she sank deeper and deeper after every cruel punchline.
Gobzella is so big she got a fur coat and all the mammals of the world went extinct, said the first boy. Gobzella is so ugly that she made her own reflection puke, said the second boy. Gobzella is so heavy that I pictured her... You okay, babe?
What?
You alright?
Yeah.
Oh. Gobzella is so heavy that I pictured her in my head and my neck broke, said the third.
Don't laugh at Gobzella.
Gobzella is so scary that her face emptied a haunted house, said the fourth.
Gobzella growled angrily and slammed her hands against the sand. "All right, that is enough," she shouted. "Your mean comments hurt me when I was young, but they also made me strong. And I became the best warrior Goblin territory ever seen. And now look at me, exploring ancient temples and saving the world. And what are you doing? What became of your lives? You're probably sitting in gross goblin homes, trapped in your bad goblin marriage, with a bunch of goblin kids running around breaking your stuff. Who's laughing now?" One by one, the 4 goblin boys disappeared, and Gobzella's cage crumbled into dust. She stopped sinking into the quicksand and was able to pull herself out of the floor. Bristol, Lucy, and Ryder cheered for the goblin. However, there was no time to celebrate her triumph. The delegates turned to Spanky's cage and saw that the dwarf was up to his neck in quicksand. The mole people circled him like predators as he struggled to keep his head above the sand.
Poor little Spanky, said the first mole. If only he could admit his mistakes, he would survive the challenge, said the second mole. Come on, just say you were wrong, said the third mole. You dropped the diamonds down the well because you were clumsy, said the fourth mole. You hit the bear cub with the minecart because you were careless, said the fifth mole. You failed the management test because you weren't smart enough, said the sixth mole. You have no one to blame but yourself, said the seventh mole. Just confess and all this will stop, said the eighth mole. Never, the dwarf yelled passionately. None of that was my fault. It was all you. While the other delegates had completed the challenge by embracing their truths, Bristol realized that Spanky's challenge was embracing his dishonesty. She knelt beside his cage, desperate to talk some sense into him before it was too late. "Spanky, if the mole people are telling the truth, you've just got to admit it," she said. No, they can't be trusted, he said. Don't let them deceive you. The dwarf's in denial, the dwarf's in denial, the dwarf's in denial,
the mole people chanted. "Spanky, there's no shame in admitting that you've made mistakes in the past," she said. "We've all done things we aren't proud of, and some of those things are so painful it's easier to come up with lies instead of taking responsibility. When we blame our mistakes on other people, we just come up with conspiracies to justify our actions. We never grow from our mistakes. This is your chance to take all that shame and turn it into something good."
No, I'm sorry, Fairy Godmother, Spanky said. I won't let them win.
The dwarf took a deep breath and let the quicksand pull him out of sight. Bristol, Lucy, Ryder, and Gobzella screamed as their friend disappeared. Above them, the floating glass heart burst into hundreds of pieces, and the golden key flew across the room to unlock the double doors. The delegates heard the chains and locks unraveling from the doors, but none of them turned to look at it. Even though they had beaten the challenge, the delegates waited with bated breath, praying that Spanky would come back. But the dwarf never returned.
"I can't believe he chose death over facing the truth," Lucy said. "He was casualty of own conspiracies," Gobzella said.
Bristol wiped at the tears running down her face, wishing there was more she could have done to help the dwarf. "The most dangerous lies are the ones we tell ourselves," she said. Sad. Big sad. Wow. All right. We are up to chapter 20 tomorrow, and there are only 25 chapters, so it looks like this is our last week with the Tale of Magic stories. It's our last week in this life. First Buttercup now. Oh, I know. It's terrible. Well, and the prince. We lost the prince too. Not that anyone cared about him, but we did lose Elrond. Wonder what his dad's gonna say about that. I don't think we can lose any more of these, right? Thanks for the depressing start to my afternoon. I know, I'm not ready either, Avery. I'm not ready either, you guys. But at least we know we're gonna read Chris's other book right after this, so we already have our next book picked, and we're still in his writing, so at least we can like ease out. You know what I mean? It is what it is for now. We can only do what we can do, and I will be live later. The other book is called, oh gosh, what is it called? I can't remember off the top of my head, Avery, but I will look it up and I will post about it. It's a standalone book he has. It's not a part of a series, and I don't think it's fantasy, but it's interesting. I have it on my Kindle for us to read, just because, you know, like, he's always interesting, obviously, right? Like, everything we've read from him has been great, so we just figured we might as well. I will be on live later to make slime because I need to make clear base. I also need to make more anger, and I might need to make white glue base for roll for slimes. I know, me too, Naisa. It's very difficult. So I will see you all later, obviously, for slime, and then we'll finish this book this week. It's a wild time. I hope you have a great rest of your day until slime time. And if you are meant to sign up for a roll for slime or a custom slot, Stranger Than Fanfiction, that's the name of the next book, Stranger Than Fanfiction. We have roll for slime on Wednesday, so if you need yours to be made this month, go and sign up for that ASAP. And that's pretty much the whole kit and caboodle. Please do, Ray. And I will see you later. Bye, guys.